Hey guys, welcome to lesson 3.4, where we discuss difficulties and disasters in sampling. A couple key terms, and the focus is going to be on the population of students at Virginia Tech. Target population is going to be all 3,700 or 37,000 students enrolled at Virginia Tech for a given semester. The sampling frame is the list you actually sample students from. So ideally, that's the registrar's list of fully enrolled students. Undercoverage is a term for when the frame misses part of a target population. So for example, if you only sample students from the on-campus housing roster, that misses all the students that are living off campus. That tends to skew upperclassmen. There's going to be all sorts of issues there. Non-response bias. You reach students, but they don't respond. So the students that do respond might feel differently from the students who don't. So for example, doing a spot survey, if you just, make it, don't really incentivize it or anything like that, a lot of students are not going to respond. And when that happens, they might have different opinions from the ones that do respond. Self-selected sample, also known as a volunteer response. So those are people who choose themselves to be included in the sample. We'll talk about that in a bit. A convenience sample is just talking to whoever's around. Obviously, that's going to be problematic as well. All right, so we look at framing problems and unreached students. Sampling Virginia Tech students from on-campus housing misses the majority of upperclassmen living off campus. With undercoverage, the key idea there is that some students never have a chance of being selected. So yeah, if you're looking at on-campus housing, students who are living off campus, whether it's Blacksburg, whether they're commuting, etc., they just have no chance of being selected, and that's going to be problematic. Or if you actually select the students but don't reach out to them, that's a problem as well. Non-response and non-participation. So here, students are selected, but they don't respond. That's one of the differences between non-response and undercoverage. Undercoverage, they don't have a chance of being selected. Non-response, they do have a chance of being selected. They are selected, but they don't respond. So Dining Services emails a student to every Virginia Tech student that's enrolled in the fall, but only 9% respond. So the lower the response rate, the less you can generalize the results. So one solution to that is go with a smaller sample, but aggressively pursue those that are selected in terms of getting them to respond. So like follow-up, phone calls, maybe even like in-person conversations. 9% who answered aren't a small version of all Hokies. They're students who cared enough to click. So even if you have a great frame, you can't rescue a survey from those who choose not to answer. Volunteer response sample or self-selected sample. So the problem, when students choose themselves to participate, the results actually can't be extended beyond the responders, no matter how many vote. So for example, setting up a booth in the drill field, and it has a big sign, should McComas add a bigger weight room? Vote here. And the students that walk up are the ones that give their opinion, and those are going to be, so 88% of students that walk up want a bigger weight room. But if we actually reached out to all students at Virginia Tech and surveyed them, it'd probably be even a smaller percentage than 41%. But the idea there is people that include themselves in the survey, like self-select, are probably going to have, almost certainly going to have very strong opinions compared to just the general population. Convenience and haphazard samples. The problem, interviewing students at Sharky's on a Saturday afternoon or evening. Those are the people who are easiest to reach, not a random sample of Virginia Tech students. And you can imagine if you're just talking to random students on a Saturday afternoon or evening, especially downtown, it's going to be a very different cross-section than the general population of Virginia Tech students. Saturday crowd at one bar is a narrow slice of campus, 21 and over, social, and on a weekend. And interviews still drift towards approachable-looking students. The results may describe Sharkey's Saturday crowd, not Virginia Tech. Bottom line, how a sample is chosen matters far more than how big it is. So 150 randomly chosen students from a registrar's list are much, much better than 450 students with a walk-up votes at a drill-filled booth. 2 questions to ask at any survey. How were the students selected? What fractions of those selected actually responded? Quick check. Now we're going to be looking at all Blacksburg residents. So if we do a survey of all Blacksburg residents and we look at those who have a town water utility account, this misses people that might be staying with a landlord who pays the utilities. Town mails a parks survey to every Blacksburg resident. 8% of those respond, mostly with complaints. The 92% that don't respond might have very different opinions than those that do respond. A poll about a proposed apartment development is posted to a Blacksburg community Facebook group. Those with very strong feelings are likely to respond, and they're likely to include themselves in the sample. A reporter interviews shoppers at a Blacksburg farmer's market on a Saturday morning. That's a convenience sample. Again, not random. Like, there's going to be some random people there, but it's not going to be a population that's representative of all Blacksburg residents. So, summary. Sampling frame problems cause undercoverage. Students missing from the list, like off-campus Hokies on a housing rosters, have no chance of being selected. Low response rates limit generalization even with a perfect frame. So if you reach out to a number of people, but you get a small response rate, that might potentially cause some problems. Volunteer response samples like walk-up booths on the drill field usually represents no one beyond those students who stopped, regardless how big of a result you get. Convenience and haphazard selection are not random. Judge every survey by how the sample was chosen.